What's going on, everybody? John with Bull-Throttle Trading. Today I just wanted to make another video. I've done a couple of these in the past where I'm going to go over some stocks that have earning reports coming out tomorrow before market open. So I went through a bunch of these and I kind of slimmed them down to the ones that I see the most value in or the most potential in the near future. Not all of these are exactly the best buy-ins at this moment, but we could set some alerts and have a potential very good opportunity a little bit in the future depending on what happens with these earning reports. So I tried to keep this one a little bit quicker, I guess, so to speak. So if you guys do have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out into the comment section, and I will go through and do my best to answer all these in a timely fashion. And at that, if you guys are ready, let's get started. So the first stock that we have on our list for these earnings is Alibaba, right? And this is just BABA. And looking at this chart, we can see that we've had some growth at the end of last year, right? So we had a nice push. Look at all this real estate between the SMA line and these candles, right? So this is very bullish. And then we had a pullback, and we kind of, established this window here, right? So I drew these lines. Granted, they're not exactly perfectly straight, but you get the idea. So looking at this, we can see their last earnings statement was extremely bullish, right? So we had very, very bullish movement. We had this pullback and kind of this, ups and downs. And this is healthy, right? So, I mean, again, a stock doesn't just flatline and move straight up. It goes up and down. And then we had right around here the coronavirus, COVID-19. So we had a pullback, right? Now, look where we pulled back to. We're still above these lows on the 6-month chart, right? So we haven't even broken down that far, and we recovered pretty quickly, right? If we look at this SMA line, we can see that we're on this upward trend and we're in a pullback, right? Now we could see here we had a pullback happening before this earning, and well, I guess it would be this pullback. So we had this pullback going, and then we had an earnings statement that was positive, and we pushed right back up. We didn't quite get to the same high, right? But we had this consolidation period and then this big sell-off. So with how quick this recovered, we could see it pushed up, then we pulled back. We got these higher lows, right? Higher lows, got back up, and kind of almost made this same resistance point. So we had this lower high here, right? So our direction isn't exactly clear at this point of the chart. So we see this pullback, push up, pull back with these lower high or higher lows, and then boom, we got these higher highs, and we're pulling back. Now, what I really like about this chart is, again, we had a pullback, we had a positive earnings statement, and we popped back up, right? So with how this recovered so quickly, our SMA line is pointing up. If we drew an arrow at the end of this, we would see it would continue in this way. So that's a good sign, right? If this earnings statement comes out tomorrow and it's, again, another positive note, we could see a familiar pattern here, right? Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to. But we can see that we're kind of having the same formation, and we're almost at the same spot too, right? So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this one. I'm going to set some alerts here and keep an eye on what this does. I'll set one at the EMA line here as well. Create alert at above. And I will create an alert at the resistance, right? So this way I can kind of keep an eye on what this is doing, and if I choose to, take a position in this tomorrow, depending on what it does. Again, I'm going to wait for that confirmation, but I want to just have my alert set and be ready, okay? All right, so the next one we have, and I'm going to try to go through these quickly. So next one we have is Foot Locker, right? So Foot Locker, we had this kind of consolidation area here for a while, right? And after COVID-19, we had this drop, and we're seeing that we're making these higher highs and these higher lows, right? So we have a nice pattern here starting from this bounce, and Foot Locker has been very bullish today. We can see this big green candle here, right? So we're starting to move in the right direction. So depending on this earnings statements, we could see their dividend was good. Their last two earnings statements were good. Now, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this big drop off from COVID-19, but they seem to be recovering well. The thing that I want to point out to you guys on Foot Locker, though, is pay attention and be safe, because our RSI and our MACD were very overbought, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if we started to see a pull off on this. If there is a positive earnings statement, though, it could continue. Just because we're overbought doesn't mean it can't continue to keep going up, right? So we definitely just want to be patient on this one and keep an eye on what it does, but just be aware of that. All right, the next one we have, this is Deere and Company, John Deere, right? So this is a similar kind of one as Foot Locker. We can see we had this nice window here that we were trading in, COVID-19 pullback, and then since we've bounced, right, you can see we got a higher high, but then we got lower lows, lower highs, higher lows. So direction is very unclear on this right now, right? I mean, we can see by looking at the SMA line, we're still in this downtrend. However, we're starting to hook here. See, so today, right now, we have a very bullish candle. Our EMA is pointing up, which is a good sign. We have quite a bit of real estate between the EMA and the candle, right? Same thing with the SMA. Our EMA is above the SMA, and our SMA line, this green line here, it's starting to flatten out, right? So this is a potential for, a good bounce point, right? We might start to see more of an uptrend happening. So this is another one that I definitely will keep an eye on. I'm not going to necessarily set any alerts on it. Again, it's on the very overbought side, right? So MACD, RSI, we're overbought. So definitely be careful with this. We can see for a long-term swing trade, though, we have some potential here. So getting back to the middle here, about 20% profit margin possible. But look at our loss. Our loss is about half of that. So if this is a ratio that you're comfortable with and you feel like taking a swing trade on it, that's up to you. Again, I don't want to tell you guys how to invest your money. I just want to give you all the tools to help make better decisions, right? So, you guys trade differently than I do and vice versa. So again, all I'm trying to do is break things down, and if you see value, then, by all means, take your position. That's what I'm here for. All right, so next we have CAE, and CAE has, again, direction's very unclear, right? We kind of had this push, and as you can see, we're getting these lower highs and lower lows, right? So we dropped down a little bit, but it's doing a good job holding, right? Again, the earnings statement on this, I definitely want to pay attention. This is a little bit lower cap of a stock. So it's definitely something that if you don't have a whole lot of money in your account and you're under the PDT rule, I can understand why you would see value in this, right? We're still pretty low below this SMA, and the SMA is still pointing down in a straight line. The SMA it's not inspiring a whole lot of confidence on this, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a negative earnings statement just on the way that this bounce has been doing. We did hit this low of $5.50 and bounce back up. So, I mean, that's a good sign. And like I said, we did have a little bit of this bullish movement, but direction is unclear. The nice thing about this is it's more on the oversold side, right? So it does have potential to move up. Again, though, have your risk to reward ratio, in your head, right? Looking at a shorter term swing, we could see we have a 9% potential for loss and a 22% potential for gain, right? So, I mean, again, do your part at managing your risk. If this is something that you see value in or you see an opportunity in, just do your part at managing your risk, right? If you're going to enter this for a swing trade, be sure that you pay attention to your position size. I wouldn't, me personally, I wouldn't enter this yet. But depending on what tomorrow's earnings statement does, it might create a new opportunity. It might dip back down to this lower support here and hold and show confirmation that we've created this, or we've confirmed this support level, right? So if we do see a pullback in a bad earnings statement and we pull back to this level, we can keep an eye on it and see if we could start to get, this confirmation of an uptrend now. And our margin here, if we buy, come on. So now we're looking at about 33% of a recovery if this pulls back. So again, keep an eye on it if you see value in it. I personally am not going to set any alerts on this one, but again, I wanted to include it on this because it has earnings coming out tomorrow before market. Okay, next we have Buckle. Buckle has a very, very nice horizontal pattern here, right? And this is what I want to break down for you guys. So we have this resistance up here and that support down here, right? So we have this nice horizontal pattern going. We are on the overbought side. And looking at where it's, this is the third time, fourth time maybe that it's approached this resistance level and it pulled back again. So I don't really see a whole lot of value in this at the moment. If there was a positive earnings statement, which based on what has happened since this last one, I personally wouldn't expect a whole lot out of this. But again, why would you want to buy close to this resistance level when, again, these patterns pull back, right? So we're looking at about a 17% margin for loss. And then we have about a 13% potential for profit, right? So I don't necessarily see a whole lot of value in this. However, if this negative earnings statement comes back and, if this earnings statement comes back negative and this starts to pull back down to this support line, then we might want to pay attention, right? Because now we have this potential for, what did I say? About, 22.5% margin that we can play with. So that's kind of why I wanted to include this in this video. Again, if you see value in buying it here, that's on you. I don't know everything. Everything that I'm telling you guys is strictly just my opinion based on my own research. And it doesn't mean that you guys have to necessarily see value in the same things that I do. But again, I wanted to include this because, I would actually probably set an alert for down here. So I'm going to do at or below. So when I see that Buckle has pulled back down near this support line, this is where I want to pay attention to it, right? And see if I can get some of this 22% margin. So, all right, and then the last one we have is Tribune Publishing. Now this stock, I like the way this is looking, right? So we had an aggressive push-up, right? And we kind of consolidated here for some time, a couple of months. And then we had a huge pullback, right? And since then, we've been on this steady bullish run, right? So we're seeing these higher highs and these higher lows, right? So you see what come on. Right? So we have this nice bullish pattern coming out of this bounce. So again, we can hope to see some positive earnings here. Oh, it doesn't look like this is an earnings statement. There's a conference call tomorrow. So there'll probably be some news on this one. Again, we are a little bit on the overbought side. Our momentum, though, is looking like it's picking up on the MACD. And again, we're pretty close to this 50% mark, right? So we're only a little bit above it. We have some nice bullish movement. So this would be a good one that I would be looking at this for either a day or a swing trade, right? This trend is a nice bullish trend. And again, when we trade, whether it be day trading or swing trading, it's easier to make money when your trend is in your favor, right? So we can see, though, that these spreads, like this first push and then the second one, right, like they're getting a little bit smaller. So it does look like it's losing momentum a little bit. And we can kind of see this with the MACD as well, right? So we have this big swing, and like these mountains and valleys, whatever you want to call them, they're getting smaller, right? They're not growing as high in either direction. So momentum is kind of slowing down on this one. So definitely do your due diligence of keeping up on the news if this is something you're interested in investing in. It's a little bit lower cap, so there does come a little bit more of a risk. So again, you do your part at managing that risk and wait for confirmation and develop a plan. Okay? So make sure that if you're going to take a position that you're buying at a good value and you have an idea of where you want to buy in, where you want to cut losses, and where you want to lock in profits, right? That's what I mean when I talk about having a plan. So before you even buy in, you should know roughly what price you want to get in at, and then where you'd want to sell, whether it be your stop loss or a limit order, right? Where you're going to cut profits, where you're going to cut losses. Just make sure that you have that plan and stick to it. If you are somebody who struggles with cutting losses, practice this, right? I understand that, especially if you're under the PDT rule, you don't want to take a trade on a loss, and I understand that it's a difficult pill to swallow, but remember, we're here to make money long term, right? We want to be successful daily, so do these practices. You might get lucky here and there where, okay, yeah, it ended up, even though it started going out of my favor, it bounced and came back. I understand that happens, but the chances of that happening every time are very slim. So we want to do our part to have a plan and stick with it. And that is how you be a successful trader in the long term, right? For months, years, decades, whatever it may be. Have that plan. All right, and with that, I'm going to end it here. I went a little bit longer than I was hoping to, but I hope that this helps give you guys a little bit idea of where to look tomorrow morning if you're looking for stocks to invest in or day trade. And if you see value in any of these, again, please feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I do my best at answering these in a timely fashion. And with that, I hope you guys all end the day in a green note, and I will talk to you next time.